Welcome, everyone. I'm Blair Clark, and today I'm interviewing Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith is super dad, devoted husband, and Marvel Universe aficionado. In fact, the theme of our conversation today was the multiverse of real estate. Brandon's going to walk us through his journey, and the key nuggets, the wisdom I want you guys to listen for, is he talks about how he is reverse engineering the purpose of his career based in his real estate investing goals. He talks about the importance of getting your feet wet before you jump fully in. And then he talks about the very cool premise called prop tech. And he taught me some things that I had never heard of before. So without further ado, let's get into it because it's going to be a good one. Welcome, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brandon is another Metro Detroit real estate entrepreneur. I love talking with people in the entrepreneur space, especially real estate. And so Brandon's going to walk us through his journey today. Just give us a quick little background so people can get to know you, Brandon. Tell us about your family, because I feel like a lot of people think that in order to do this, you have to have your entire schedule cleared and you need to just be completely able and available to throw yourself 100% into real estate.
Mhm.
That's not true for me and it's not true for Brandon. So Brandon, just describe like what you got going on at home.
Yeah. So me and my wife, we've been married. July makes 7 years. We have three kids. Thank you. So we have three kids. My oldest is four.
Mhm.
My daughter, our middle child, is three, and my baby boy is one. So when I started in real estate as an agent back in 2022, we by the end of that year, we literally had three under three. So
Mhm.
I would say with real estate, um, it's not more so about having this huge availability of time. It's just more so having that desire and scheduling your life accordingly. Because I was able to get study for my real estate exam and take the exam. This was like COVID time, so
Mhm.
everything was virtual. So I literally taught myself um everything about real estate and doing the exam. I did everything on my own, like literally in my living room. And I would do
Mhm.
things while my kids were asleep. I would do things before
Yes.
my kids woke up. I would do things, when they were off to preschool or, when I had breaks throughout the day. So, it's just more about determination than having this plethora of time. Because time is subjective for everyone, but you really just have to have the drive. And if you want the time to work, it'll work for you.
Yes, no, amen. I tell that, to people so much. And I've interviewed other people who, they've built their business during nap time, and that's just what parents of young children have to do. This isn't just about having this vast amount of availability. If you
Yeah,
are busy like Brandon or busy like myself,
yeah,
you can definitely make it work in this space.
for sure.
Awesome. So, Brandon, just catch us up to speed on where you are at right now in real estate. What are you currently doing under the umbrella of real estate entrepreneurship?
Yep. So a bit of my journey and path to get to where I'm at now. So back in 2022, I started as a real estate agent, and I was also a property manager as well. So at that time, I was using my property management experience to kind of, get acclimated to the real estate world, and it was a good entryway, a good segue. And then I was an agent on the side. So the issue I came into several issues as an agent. And when I started as an agent, I had senior agents tell me certain things, and I think I underestimated what they were telling me. And I just had like this overbearing optimism, and I probably should have listened to what they were saying. So there were a few things that didn't work for me in my favor as an agent. Number one, I'm not originally from Michigan. So my
Okay.
home state is South Carolina. My wife is from Michigan, but I moved up here in 2017. So one drawback is basically my sphere of influence, right? I have a limited sphere of influence because I'm not originally from here. So I don't have that best friend from middle school that's gonna call me like, yo, I just got this new job at Ford, man. I'm making 160K, man. I'm ready to buy a house. I don't have that, right? So I really have to build that from the ground up. But then also too, it's a trust business. So anybody can sell you a house. Anybody can do the paperwork and do the ins and outs of the transaction, but it's more so of a trust thing. And when you're brand new, when you just now meeting people, and even if you have a service and even if you're capable, that trust, sometimes people will talk to you, but they'll do the deal with somebody else based off trust. And I had to learn that, and that was kind of a roadblock I was running into. But then another issue was there's things greater than me that were going on in the economy. The interest rates were
Mm-hmm.
rising
Mm-hmm.
at that time. So a lot of the buyers that I was able to connect with, they were priced out because the interest rates went up, and a lot of those pre-approvals were non-approvals based off the interest rate. So I pretty much was looking at it from a standpoint of like, okay, what am I going to do for this family? Because if I don't close on a house, I don't eat, right? And also at that time, I was working with investors too, because there were some investment properties that they wanted to sell, but then contractors, we had issues with contractors. Guys would just take the money and run, and if the house isn't ready, the house can't get sold. So there were a lot of things that I learned about real estate, and a lot of things that people were telling me like, hey, this may be a little more difficult for you. And then again, I was still a property manager full time, so again, that time commitment, I can only give maybe 5 or 10 hours a week to it. So I was just like, you know what? I think I'm going to take a step back. And when I took a step back, I ended up back in retail management. But the cool thing about it, when I stepped away from being an agent, the cool thing about it is my employer at the time, they had a program where if you wanted to go back to school or get like a certification, you can get it on their dime, right? So I was taking a look at some of the certifications, and I found a certification for tech. So I said, let me give this a shot. I mean, hey, it's free. I mean, nothing wrong with free education, right? So I took the certification, and I ended up getting a job in the tech space from retail. So I'm now a project manager slash scrum master in the tech industry. So I've been in it for about a year and a half. And even though I'm still new, I'm still able to command a decent income. Now, if I stay in tech maybe 2 to 3 more years, I can pretty much double my income. So that is my goal now, because with me being an agent, my end goal was never to just stay an agent. I'm an introvert.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a more introverted person. So I know that being in sales and being an agent, it requires a lot of face-to-face time, a lot of interactions, and that drains me, right? So my end goal was to own property and just automate it, hire a property manager, and just automate all of the funds. So now what I'm doing through tech, I'm basically just going to take the money I thought I was going to get as an agent and then just dump it into deals. So that was pretty much me reverse engineering how I was going to get to where I wanted to get to anyway. And I want to encourage anybody out there that, if the initial plan isn't working for you, there's always other plans. And I feel that real estate is like the Marvel universe. There's so many different universes and ways to do things. And, don't just limit yourself on one thing or one strategy, because, there's a million ways to skin a cat. But the end game is you want financial freedom. The end game is you want to retire early. The end game is you want more vacations. The end game is you want more cash flow through the end game is you want to take care of your family. So I feel like however you approach it or however it takes, it's okay to swallow your pride, say, hey, this isn't working, take a step back, hey, let me try something that could work.
Yes, the multiverse of real estate,
For sure.
everybody.
For sure. For sure.
Right.
for sure.
We could end the interview right there because that is such great advice. I was telling Brandon before we started recording that I have made several transitions within the umbrella. I'm just going to start calling it within the multiverse of real estate now. And every time I do, I feel a little bit weird about it. Like I have to overly explain to people why I'm making choices from focusing on one strategy and then pivoting to another, etc. But last night, my husband and I, Brandon, we made a video. We go live on Monday nights, and our main discussion was that you have to focus on the why.
Yeah.
Why are you doing real estate in the first place? Whether you are in the retail side or you're in the investing side, or you've got both feet in both ponds there. And it really comes back to what you said is your end game. Who are the people you're doing it for? And what are your overarching goals? Like you want to have a better retirement than most people will have with the average W-2 job, and you want to build skills that you can pass off to your children so that they understand how to do this, and yada yada, whatever your reasons are. But we talked last night in our video about how you just need to dig deeper and deeper into your why. Why am I doing this? Dig all the way down to the root, dig all the way down until you hit your heart. Get out of your head, get into your heart. Why are you doing this? And then that will be your fuel when you feel like you're burned out. That'll keep you going, and it'll be your strong root system that, doesn't matter if you get cut down, you can come back from that. Whatever obstacles may be thrown your way, if you just focus on, like Brendan said, the end game. Amazing. Awesome. 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 So are you still in the property management space?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
So I'm full-time in tech, and
Okay.
then I'm doing real estate investing on the side
Mhm.
now. Um, with
Okay.
property management though, I learned a lot. From
Tell us about that experience. Go
yeah,
go all the way back to the beginning, and how did you get into property management? And
okay.
and then everything that you learned, give us stories, horror
Yeah, for sure.
stories maybe.
Oh man, so how I got into property management. So um back when my wife and I we lived in North Carolina for a little while before the pandemic. And um I had some retail experience, business management experience, and I literally just went to a leasing office and say, "Hey, I'm looking for, a job." And I just knew the type of properties that I wanted to, work in and work on. And I got a job as a leasing consultant. I would say maybe 60 days in, they saw the potential, and I was a assistant property manager within 60 days. And that was a great start for me, because again I knew I wanted to do something in real estate, because every person in America, across the world, anybody that has real wealth, there's some real estate in their portfolio somewhere.
Mhm.
And I knew I wanted to be involved in this business, but I knew that I was new. So I wanted to gain that experience. So as a leasing consultant, I learned the sales part of it. I learned, just the follow-up process, the paperwork process, just how different things are done. And then as a property manager, I learned about more so the building maintenance aspect of it. So overall, it was a great experience. Horror stories. I'm gonna save it. There's plenty of Facebook groups that have those horror stories. So, but yeah, it's a lot. I was traumatized a bit. It was a lot going on. But I can say that I think it taught me that I probably wouldn't do well as a property manager, as a landlord, because of my
Mm.
personality type. Like
Mhm.
I'm just like, yeah, people are pretty demanding, and then with um the rise of rents and the rise of cost of living, people have these high expectations as a renter and things like that. And I'm like, I kind of I need to automate that part of the business. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, I was able to learn a lot of the basics. And then as a real estate agent, when I took the exam and went through the class and the course and the process, I was able to learn more about I guess the legal part of it, and just a more generalized overview of it.
No, that's fantastic. I know that there are a lot of people listening who are thinking that they would love to get into multifamily or the single family rental space. And I love your approach that instead of jumping into purchasing a property and grinding through as a landlord, giving it that go, you went in on the property management side and you got to see firsthand, and then you got paid by your employer.
Yep.
That's that is fantastic. That might not be for everyone, but if you, especially like the young people who are thinking, I want to build a portfolio, I really want to be in the real estate space, being hands-on is not for everyone. And so if you can have an opportunity, if you're going to go out and you're going to seek employment anyway, um, dabble in the arenas where you think that you might want to invest in. That's amazing. I've actually not heard anyone say that that's how they got their start, was starting in the property management, because they had it in mind that they thought they might want to be a landlord. Most people just jump into, I'm going to buy a house or I'm going to buy a small multifamily. They get into it, and then there's so much more at stake. There's so much more,
Yep.
just
Most definitely.
everything.
There
Hmm.
is a advantage of learning on other people's
Yes.
money. Yeah,
Yes.
you want to learn on other people's money because
Mhm.
if I would have became an investor, a landlord initially, okay, I got a property, but how do I turn it?
Right.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm just and now I'm sitting and the clock is turning because I got a mortgage or I
Yep.
got a loan. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so I came into it like, let me learn, let me learn, let me grow, let me see how it works, and let me see the parts of the business that I actually enjoy. Because
Mhm.
if I'm doing things that I don't enjoy, I'm just buying another job, and I'm trying to do something different with my life. And why would I go back into the same space that I'm trying to escape?
Mhm. No, I like what you said. If you don't enjoy it, it's like you're just buying another job. No, that's a great phrase, a great way of thinking about it. And I would encourage anyone outside of the real estate space, if you are thinking about any type of entrepreneurship, rather than launch the business, why don't you go work for someone else in that business first, if you haven't already, to see, what it takes to run it. Hello, sweetie pie, give me a wave. Hi. How's he doing? Are you are you on mute or can
Yep.
you hear me? There we
Take
go.
a look.
Hi, bud.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
He doesn't like it when I get on camera and get busy. He wants his attention. So
Oh, yeah. Well,
he
he can
starts to
hang
get
out with
busy.
us. He can hang
Yep.
out with us definitely.
For
And this
sure.
is
Sure.
this is, the reason why I asked you that question in the beginning is so many people feel like I already iterated that they have to have just all this availability and that they can't actually have a
Oh,
real
yeah.
life going on in the background. And people also feel like everything has to be so pristine and so professional, and you've got to be in your suit, and everything has to be perfect and shiny. And it's just like, no, my this afternoon, my husband and I are going out to a flip house, and guess who's coming along with us? Our two little boys, and they have been coming out with us to the flip houses. They were crawling, when we were taking them out there, and I was bringing pack and plays, and sometimes I could only go there for an hour because then we would experience a meltdown when they were, like, you can real life, like, you can do this regardless of what you got going on.
Of course. And I want to say one thing. I think when we look at our family, we look at our kids, that goes back
Mhm.
to our why. That goes back
Yeah.
to my why. I'm doing it for them. So, I'm able to get up, 2, 3 in the morning and study. I'm able to, back when I was an agent, I'm on calls to, 10, 11 at night, when they're asleep, and
Mhm.
this is who we do it for. And I think, to be honest with you, there's a lot of reasons why, but I think in our generation, in our culture, I think the big thing is social media. We've seen real estate gurus and influencers, and they make you feel like you don't have any motion if you don't have 500 doors, and that's not true.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think real estate investing is on everybody's level. It's on everybody's turn. You know, some people are working in property like myself. Some people are working in property management and it's in the back of their mind, like, man, I'm gonna own a couple of these. You know, even
Yep.
that seed that gets planted is worth it. You know, some people they invest strictly in REITs. You know, they're strictly investing in the real estate trust. You know, there's some people they buy land. You know, there's nothing cool about that. You just buying dirt, but it works for them. You know, some people they love being an agent, and that's their thing. They love talking to people, they love helping people, they're popular, they have a great sphere of influence, and it works for them. You know, some people, I actually met a guy through I'm in a father's group. He's doing home healthy, like home energy stuff. And that's
Mm-hmm.
his thing. And he's still a part of the real estate universe. You know, I know guys, they love working on roofs and that's their thing. They're in the real estate universe. So it's just all on who you are and what you want to do. Because if you don't love it, you're just buying a job. You know, and I
Yeah.
think that it's real
Mm-hmm.
important that again we continue to know our why. We don't have to have the perfect situation, just go for it, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
because those loved ones are the reason why we do what we do. But then also too, don't get caught up in the comparison game to the influencers and the gurus who have everything picture perfect, because there's nothing picture perfect about real estate or any industry for that matter.
No, absolutely. And real estate, whether you are in retail or you're on the investing side or both, it will change your life, even if it is little by little. And that's what my husband and I have experienced. I left teaching elementary school so I could stay home with our boys. My husband still is teaching high school. And then getting involved in the investing space has changed our life for so many reasons. And it's been the income, but it's also been the experience. It's been the personal growth and development. You know, my husband and I talk all the time about how we've gone through such a transformation. And it seems like in such a short period of time, it's been about 8 years now since we've been in the game. And my mindset and my perspective and the things that I say yes to that before I was so insecure about, it's a transformational process that people can jump into right now today with the skill sets that they have, the knowledge that they have, even the teeny little budget, even if you think it's so insignificant, you can get started. And it doesn't have to get started with buying a 30 home portfolio or a 300 unit portfolio, or flipping 100 houses a year. It can get started with being an assistant to someone, being someone's acquisition or dispositions manager, or it can get started with you raise your hand and you say, I have a little bit of money to invest. And so you invest in someone else's deal and you see how that all plays out. But real estate, whatever way you take it, if you get involved in it, it will change your life. It's not just about the income, it's about the transformation that you go through as a person, definitely. And I'm completely biased. I could be wrong, but I think our children, you and me and everybody else, they'll be better off for it so long as the focus remains on the family, right? There are some people who can get caught up in chasing after the building side of it, but as long as your family's involved or they're at least, at the forefront of the reason why you're doing it, I think our kids are going to be better off by seeing us as their parents, and all of these entrepreneurial things that we did. And again, it's not coming back to the money. It's just like, look at what my mom, look what my dad could do. And nobody's going to be able to tell our kids that they can't do something when they
Right.
go out into the world. That's awesome. Well, I want to hear about your goals then. So you said you are full time in your retail tech space and you are reverse engineering it. You're not looking, I'm assuming that you're not looking to uh, throw all of your everything into that. You're looking to not use it, but leverage it so that you can take down your real estate investing goals. So share with us, what are your real estate investing goals? Single family, multifamily? Do you want to fix and flip? Do you want to hold? What does it
Yep.
look like for you?
Yep. So for me, two things. One, I am investing into um, REITs right now.
Okay.
I'm actually investing through Fundrise. And then also through the stock market, there's a few companies that I'm investing into too. That they have a stock presence, but they are real estate companies. Also, there was a software that I used a lot as a in property management called Yardi. Everybody knows about Yardi on the property management side. I invested into that because that's a part of tech, but then that's also real estate. So I've been investing in the companies, and I think that that was a good way to get started as well. Because even with FromRise, even when I put like $10 in something, I'm still investing. I'm still an investor.
Mhm.
And I'm just doing it on my level. So I've been getting into that. Also, I've been recently looking into mobile home parks because
Mhm.
I've noticed that because the cost of living has significantly risen due to inflation, that has become another option for most families. So sometimes that route is actually going to be cheaper than actually getting an apartment, and people are considering that.
Mhm.
And I think that if housing costs continue to trend upward, I think that's going to continue to be something that's in the back of people's mind. Like, hey, maybe I should give it a try. Maybe I should give it a shot. So I'm looking into mobile home parks. We actually have one. We have a few in my area that I'm looking at. And I've been working with a couple of real estate agents just to pull information. There's a lot that goes into it. So I'm still vetting out some deals, but I'm looking to close on, I would say, probably 2 of them by the end of this year. So that is my goal right now. So yeah, I'm looking into
Fantastic.
mobile home parks. I think once I get into it, if it works for me, I'll keep going. But if it doesn't, then I'll liquidate them and then do a single family. I think that's probably where I go, and then go single family to multifamily. But yeah, that's pretty much my goal right now. And again, I'm still working full time. I'm still taking care of my family. It's all good.
Mhm.
And yeah, I will continue to go low and slow.
No, that's fantastic. I assume I'm gonna just forgive me, everyone who's listening. I'm just gonna make some assumptions. So I'm going to assume that most everyone listening can wrap their brains around investing in mobile homes. But I want to dive deeper into REITs with you, and then also the software side, because that is super interesting to me and not anything that I have thought about. And I just got to tell you guys, part of the reason why I do these interviews with people like Brandon is it's completely selfish. Like, the content is out there for you guys, but I learned so much also, and I love it. This has been great for my expansion as well. So just to explain to those who are listening a little bit more about what is a REIT, how does it work, how is it an investment vehicle, and then I want to talk about the software side of it.
Yeah, so a REIT is basically like a real estate trust fund that you can invest into. And whenever you put money into it, the REIT, basically the account, it buys multiple properties from multiple places, right? So let's say that I live here in the Detroit metro area, right? But there's a REIT that's gonna buy a complex in Arizona, right? So even though I live here, I'm an investor in Arizona without even touching it. No tenants, no toilets, no nothing. I'm just strictly
Mm-hmm.
putting money in the fund, and then I receive a dividend back. That's all I'm doing. And then on the technology side, there is a term called prop tech. So basically, it's the technology around properties. So prop tech can be, let's say, you have a tenant that is looking to move in, right? And you want to run a background check. You have to use a technology. You have to use a platform to run their background check, right? So that is considered prop tech. So I can go to the stock market and see, hey, is this place publicly traded, right? And then I can invest into that software, because we need technology in every space and everything that we do in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think prop tech is a part of the real estate multiverse, right? It's not talked about because it's not as cool, it's not as sexy, right? But it's still a moneymaker, because for these properties to stand, you have to run it through some type of technology. You have those automatic lock doors that people use at Airbnbs, right?
Yeah.
There's a company for that. There's a technology
Mm-hmm.
for that. Invest into that. So it's like the grind doesn't stop. You have to continue to look at the multiverse and what other pockets of income you can get.
That Man, that's wisdom, you guys. If you are listening right now, he just described another stream of income that you can add, and that's something that I talk about and I think about. And I have this web on my wall. It's over there. It's the web of the multiple streams of income that come off of, like, the hub is real estate, but then all the spokes are all of the different pathways you can take to earn income in the real estate space. And I'm going to have to add prop tech. I got to add the spoke of prop tech. No, I just used what Brandon described, prop tech. I just used it. There's a third party company that I use. For any landlords out there, it's called Turbo Tenant. And then the other third party company that I use is called apartments.com. And as a landlord, I collect rent through apartments.com. I don't have the capacity to collect payments online. I need to use a third party. So that would be the property tech, prop tech, such cool phrase. And then also Turbo Tenant is where I do my tenant screenings. And I just used that company to screen 2 tenants because I'm putting got an available unit in my small multifamily, and I'm placing a tenant, and I use that to do background checks, credit checks, eviction reports, history, all of that. And it is a very valuable service to me. And my job would be exponentially more difficult and tedious if I did not have those tools. So absolutely, I see a super duper strong future in all of that. And that is such a great vehicle. I'm so glad you brought it up. I'm like excited about it now. I'm going to get off this call and Google everything I
Google it.
can
Yep.
about how to invest in prop tech. Awesome. 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 That's cool. So you have the mobile home space goals, and you said by the end of the year, you should have closed on 2 of those properties.
Yes.
So I know that you haven't put the plan into action yet, but what is your plan for that? How will you place tenants? How will you vet tenants? Will you self manage? Will you hire property management? And then also, and I don't know the answer to this question, how does that work? Do you own the lot? Do you own the building? Give us a little more in detail on how that works.
Yeah, so with the mobile home space, there's there's property you can purchase where you are the owner of the lot and some that are not.
Okay.
So most mobile home parks, like if it's like a commercial place that you see, you probably 9 times out of 10, you're probably not gonna own the lot.
Okay.
But there are some landlords that are open to, that being purchased. But again, more than likely they because they make money off the lot rent. Like that's pretty much like their land. And a lot of people not gonna really give up their land.
Hmm.
So each deal is different. And that's something that I'm looking at because if I can own the land, then that's like I'm more money in, I'm more cash flowing, right? So that means that I can hire a property manager. But if I don't own the land, I'm gonna have less cash flow and I'm also have
Hmm.
to self-manage up to a certain point. So I think if I have about 5 units, 5 mobile homes, even if I'm doing a lot rent, I could probably afford a property manager, but maybe if I have like maybe 1 to 2, probably not. I'll probably self-manage, so I can keep the cash flow coming.
Hmm. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with self-managing. My husband, John Paul, and I, we self-manage. We have 7 rental units that we have. They're all in the same city. And like Brandon said, he thinks when he hits about 5, he could justify property management. So we have a higher number in our brain. It's actually not in my brain. It's in my husband's brain. I would hire property management and not make any money and just let the building pay for itself and build equity if I didn't have to deal with these tenants, which my tenants are great. If any of my tenants are watching, I love you. Thank you. You all are great. But sometimes you have issues, right? That I would love to just be able to call a property manager and say, go out there and fix the toilet, go out there and fix the furnace, etc. But yeah, the reason why I'm talking about that number is for anyone who is nervous about actually being the manager themselves of their rental property, you can keep a number in mind. And it's not just some arbitrary number that you throw out there. It's based on, it's based on property income and other metrics that you set up that you need. So eventually you can work your way up to hitting a target where you can put property management in place. No, that's super interesting about the mobile home setup there. So with if you don't own the lot, then you as the owner, you rent the lot. I assume that you are buying the building that the people would move into. And so how trying to think of how to phrase my question here. Um, I would assume that your tenant then would just pay you one lump sum. That lump sum would cover the lot rent, cover whatever your monthly needed cost would be for the building, and then what do the utilities look like on the mobile home space?
Yep. So sometimes the utilities are built in um
Mm-hmm.
with the lot rent. Sometimes they're not. So each mobile home park it runs differently. I'm currently looking for some that kind of had everything rolled into the actual lot rent, and then from there, I can pretty much gauge how much cash flow I can make. Because to be honest with you, the land is more valuable than the actual property itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to find a good mobile home park that has that kind of built into the lot rent. That way I'm cash flowing a lot more. So there's a lot of research that goes into it. But one thing that I think is great is that I feel that this is more so the future. I'm looking more towards the future. So
Mm-hmm.
as costs go up, people are going to be looking at those mobile home parks more and more. And I do feel that, within time, if I'm able to really build enough mobile homes and then go from there. Like, I can liquidate, I can, let them go and go do single family and then go from there. But I think that it's going to be a good start, a good place to start.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you too. And I like what you said about how you are looking to the future, which I think is a mistake that was commonly made before, the 2008, 2009 era where everything went bust. If you are only looking at the circumstances of today and you're making future plans based on where things are at right now today, it could come back to bite you. Like all of the investors who made investments in '05, '06, '07, and then, the bubble came crashing down. That was right around the time that I was graduating from college. And, one of the things that, I look back on it and I'm like, man, I wish I would have had the capital and then the knowledge to get into real estate at that point in time, because people who either they were able to weather the storm or they were able to, make the comparisons and the contrasts. They have really taken this in the last like 15 years and they've just blown things up. So I love how you are future minded. You're not just looking at like, well, how are things working today? What do people want today? You're just like, no, if we stay on this trajectory, this is where things are going to end up. And I love that you are getting involved in the tech space. Obviously, the tech space has been around forever, but it's not really something that is talked about. When you look up real estate investing, people want to talk to you about how to buy a rental property, how to wholesale property, how to flip a house, how to invest in multifamily real estate. I don't see anybody talking about how to invest in the tech side of real estate. So maybe I'll just do a little prophesy over your life, Mr. Brandon. Maybe you need to get yourself in the YouTube space if you're not already and just start talking to the world about investing in prop tech, because you'd probably have a following and it would blow up quick, because that is very interesting. And like you said, you are still investing in the real estate space that way. All right. So I'm just prophesying and declaring this over you right now. You're gonna be the prop tech guru of the future. That's awesome. 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 So Brandon, I want you to give some advice to the people who are out there who see you doing all of these cool things. They see you being super dad, Mr. Fantastic, awesome husband, and also just going down these different avenues in your career and in real estate. What is some advice for somebody out there who wants to do the cool things that you're doing? Um, and maybe maybe they are a parent, or maybe they just don't know what to get into, or maybe they are having some self-doubt, etc. But like, what would you say to somebody who wants to get involved in real estate investing or in one of these other alternative avenues that you take down the multiverse? What would you say to them?
I would say start by starting.
Start by starting.
Start by starting.
Boom. Enough said. All right. How do you start? How do you start by starting? What is the first step to start? Is it going to an event? Is it reading a book? Is it hopping on a webinar? It's okay. You can unmute.
Yep.
Sweet
One
pie.
second.
Sweet pie is fine.
One
He
second.
is
Let's get
fine.
him together. There you go. There you go. All right. He wants his lemonade. So I would say the best way to start by starting is to, wow, that's a good question. I would say number one, education. I think education is great. Sometimes too much education can paralyze you because you don't know like what to do or you have way too much information. I would say initial education and mentorship. It's always good to learn from somebody that's already doing what you want to do and living how you want to live.
Yeah, amen. I think that's the perfect answer. Right on. Alrighty. Well, we're gonna wrap things up with you today, Brandon, because I know you gotta tend to your little guy there, and he is so cute and so sweet. But I just want to ask you two final questions. Number one, do you have a real estate specific or just a general business entrepreneurial mindset book that you would recommend? Maybe that could be step two, for people or part of their educational path. What's a book that you would recommend people
Think
read?
and Grow Rich. I read
Mm-hmm.
Think and Grow Rich back in '09, and
Mm-hmm.
it really got me on this track to where I'm at today. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Also, too, coming from, African American community, sometimes we see all these barriers and hurdles. There's actually a Think and Grow Rich version written by an African American teacher. His name
Mm-hmm.
is Dr. Dennis Kimbrough. So if there's no excuse, you can do it. Anyone can do it. So I recommend Think and Grow Rich, but I also recommend Think and Grow Rich, The Wealth Choice by Dr. Dennis Kimbrough for my African American people out there.
No, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic. And then leave us today with how can people connect with you? Where can they follow you? Or if anybody wants to reach out to you, or if anybody wants to bring you a screaming deal in a mobile home park somewhere, where can they reach you?
Yep, you can reach me. My email is bsmith275@gmail. You can also reach me on Facebook, Brandon Smith, and my listing is going to have West Bloomfield on it, so you can find me there.
Okay, fantastic. Brandon, thank you so much for your time. Give that little sweet guy a kiss from all of us, and we will talk to you next time. Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks for having us, Blair. You have a great day. Take care.
And for all of you out there in internet land, I have two directions for you to follow. Number one, always remember there is no spoon. And number two, remember to join us for Weeknight Workshop. We're going live on YouTube on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time to teach you all of the strategies and systems that we've used to build our six-figure real estate investing business. We were two broke teachers who broke into the real estate investing space, and if we can do it, you can do it. And you do not want to miss this information. So join us on YouTube Monday nights, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys in the workshop.